Crew Chief 36 here, and in this Microsoft Flight Sim 2024 video, we fly the amazing Miltech Simulations C-17. We'll be flying VR 1355, the famous military training route called the $1 Million Ride. It's an epic low-level training route in the Cascade Mountains, the same area where the movie Top Gun was filmed. I'm going to really be pushing the limits of this C-17 through these tight, snow-covered canyons, and then I'll be finishing off the flight shooting an ILS landing into Naval Air Station Whidbey Island. Here we are at McChord Air Force Base in Washington State, home to nearly 40 C-17s. This airport is a freeware add-on from FlightSim.to, and it looks pretty good, especially with all these static C-17s on the ramp. So let's go ahead and get up in the cockpit and get this thing fired up. I've ridden on all three of the main Air Force cargo planes, you know, the C-130, the C-17, and the C-5. And I'll have to say the C-17 was probably one of my favorite to ride on. All the pre-flight checks are done and the APU's already fired up, so all we have to do is start the 4 Pratt & Whitney engines and taxi out of here. Okay, we are clear to start engines 1 and 4. Go and turn our engine shutoff valve for 1 and 4 on, and we'll start engine 1 and engine 4. Okay, looks like we got a good start on engines 1 and 4. We'll go and turn our shutoff valves for 2 and 3 on, and start 2s and 3. And we'll go and turn off the starters for 1 and 4. It looks like engines 2 and 3 are good. We'll go ahead and turn our APU bleed off. Turn our bleed air for all 4 engines on. We'll also throw our left and right pack on. We'll turn on our generators for all 4 engines. And we'll go ahead and turn on all hydraulics. Now we'll go ahead and turn our power generator off for our APU. And we will go ahead and turn our APU off. And we'll make sure our starters are off on 2 and 3. Alright, now that we got a good start on everything, let's go ahead and initialize our position here. Go ahead and initialize. We'll hit this. Alright, and then we will hit execute. Here's our flight plan for today. We're going to be taking off out of runway 16, coming out of McChord Air Force Base. We're going to be going south around Mount Rainier, and then once we get around the south side of it, we'll go and head north to Checkpoint Ratty. Once we hit Checkpoint Ratty, we're going to disconnect our autopilot, and we're going to hand fly and run some VFR. And we're going to be hitting up VR 1355, which is coming off out of Cachalas Lake, and we're going to be basically following this infamous $1 Million Ride. That's a very popular training route for the military in the Cascade Mountains. So we're going to be following it all the way around, and then we'll be taken back out here to Naval Air Station at Whidbey Island. And once we get there, we're going to be shooting an ILS approach onto runway 14. Okay, looks like everything is inputted in the flight plan good. We got our nice solid lines instead of dotted, and a nice purple magenta to our first waypoint. Everything's looking good here. We'll go ahead and throw our taxi lights on. Take our parking brake off. Alright, looks like we're clear. Let's start taxiing out of here. Alright, we are getting on runway 16. Gonna line her up here with centerline. Alright, looking good there. Go ahead and throw a parking brake on. Make sure our engine parameters page is in the right place. We are set to max takeoff power. Landing taxi lights are all turned on. And we'll go ahead and bring our flaps down to takeoff. Alright, our flaps are in position. Take our parking brake off, hold brakes. We're going to bring up power to about 1.5. Let it stabilize. Release the brakes. Looking for about 125 knots for rotate. V1, we'll rotate. We're going to pitch for 12 degrees. There's 12 degrees. Positive rate, landing gear's coming up. Bringing the flaps, just the slats are out. Beautiful morning up here in Washington. Coming out of McCord Air Force Base. We'll go and bring our flaps up. Alright, you can see here now we're starting to level off, capturing that 10,000 feet. Alright, yep, autopilot's working as intended, and we have captured 10,000 feet, and we're still maintaining 250 knots. That's Mount Rainier over there to our left. One thing about the Flight Sim 2024 is the rendering distance pretty far still looks questionable at best. Hopefully those things get sorted out. Alright, we reached Bacoa. Now the autopilot's taking us over to our next waypoint. Should bring us just to the south of Mount Rainier. Alright, looks like we're making our turn past waypoint white. Swinging around the southeast side of Mount Rainier. Once we start traveling north, from there on I'm going to go VFR. I'm going to take it out of autopilot and we're going to get low and do some low-level flying. Do the popular $1 Million Ride. Go ahead and disconnect autopilot right now and auto throttle. And we have the controls. cruising along here at 250. So the update still hasn't pushed for the C-17 yet by Miltech. They've done it, but Asobo hasn't pushed any updates for the aircraft. And in that update, it includes where it doesn't constantly say overspeed if you're going above 250 knots below 8,000 feet. So in order to not hear that the entire flight, because I'm definitely going to be going faster than 250, I went to the audio settings and turned off the warning sound. So the reason you don't hear any warning sounds is because I disabled them completely, just because it's annoying. I want to be able to fly exactly how these aircraft operate, and they usually fly around 300 to 350 knots when they're doing these low-level flights.
We're doing 330 knots over the ground, about 5.5 miles a minute.
Wow. We're entering VR 1355. We're going to try to pick up the speed here and maintain 300 knots. Now we're going to make our right-hand turn up this first canyon. Right over the highway here. Cruise along about 338 knots. Oh yeah, this is a pretty sick flyby coming off the lake here, going over I-90 at around 350 knots. Okay, we're going around 350 knots right now. I'm going to want to keep my speed up right here since we have a little bit of a climb out up at the end of this canyon in front of us. Alright, we are going to pitch. We're going to clear the left side of this mountaintop here and transfer over to the next canyon. Go and add a little bit of power. Nice high altitude lake up here. Alright, we're clear. We'll pull back power to maximum continuous thrust. Dip down into this canyon here. The Cascade Mountain Range is pretty stunning. It almost seems like, you know, an endless canyon to carve up in a plane, but it's actually about 700 miles long north to south and up to about 80 miles wide in certain sections. Alright, and we're going to do a big climb and left-hand turn. Almost 60 degrees. There's 60 degrees of bank angle.
Bank rate.
60 degrees angle bank.
Oh yeah, look at this big girl coming around this corner here. Some more beautiful high altitude lakes. Man, this is a pretty epic place to fly. Doing 274 knots. I'm going to transfer over to this canyon here. I believe that's the Foss River below us in the valley there. We're going to hug the left side of this canyon over here because we're going to be making a right up this next canyon. And we'll be following VFR Highway 2. Alright, we'll start our turn. We're at our 60-degree bank angle limit. And there's Highway 2. We'll follow that up a little bit. Does that not look absolutely stunning or what? Alright, now we're going to make a good left. And there's our 60-degree bank angle limit there. There we go. Our turn rate's pretty slow, I feel. There's Highway 2 right there on the shelf to our right. We'll cut up this canyon. Over there to our right there is Stevens Pass. Great snowboarding area. I learned how to snowboard there when I was growing up. Should be a little lake right up here. Yep, there's the lake. Make our left right here. Should be another lake up here as well. Yep, there we go. Right now we're just doing some VFR. We of course have our fly panel with some waypoints in there, just so we don't get completely lost. Okay, let's go ahead and head back to the back of the cargo bay and do some ramp surfing. Still doing 267, we're maintaining speed pretty good. Oh yeah, looking good. Okay, so that's pretty much most of the canyons there. We're getting to the end of VR 1355. Go and add some power. Climb up out of here. This thing's pretty impressive. You can see we're pretty much still right on our flight plan here. Alright, 7,000 feet's pretty good right here. 1,000 feet. Going to level off. And we will set up our autopilot for getting this thing back on the ground here. Let's see here, we'll, we had 8,000. Bring it down a little bit to 6,000. And from here, gonna turn autopilot on, auto throttle on. Alright, and here we are coming down to our altitude of 2,700 feet to intercept our ILS. We have put our auto throttles down to 160, and we're slowly decreasing speed as we're coming down in altitude. There's a Naval Air Station, Woodby Island right there. Coming out, catching the ILS beacon, and landing on runway 14. Alright, looks like we've captured 2,700 feet, and our speed is coming down. We're going to put our slats in. And first stage flaps. Just verifying our nav1 is on the proper LOC and DME from our airport, which is 110.1, and make sure that we are on VRR right here, otherwise we won't be able to catch the ILS beacon and approach when we go and hit the approach button right here. So we're just waiting for us to make this left here. And there's runway 14 at Naval Air Station Woodby Island up there in front of us. We'll go ahead and slow up our speed now. And we'll go and put 3/4 flaps in. Once we line up a little bit better here, I'll go and hit the approach button, and it should capture the glide slope. Alright, we'll go and click it now. Down here it'll say localizer 1 track, and it looks like it captured it. And now we'll just wait for the glide slope to come down. Runway should be off our nose here. Our glide slope is coming down. Make sure we capture this. Alright, and it says pitch, which means we have captured the glide slope, and we'll start to see the altitude slowly decrease. And it is. Everything's looking good. Alright, we're on final. All the landing lights are on. Landing gear down. And we'll go full flaps. Autopilot's taking us in. I noticed with the Miltech C-17, it likes to oscillate left to right as it's following the localizer in. So I don't know if that's just something with this one airport. But once we get closer, I'll go and take manual control over it and set her down. We're looking for a touchdown speed of about 115. Alright, we might as well take over from here. Autopilot off, auto throttle off. We have the flight controls. Keep an eye on the airspeed. I'm aiming a little bit to the right of the runway just to get back on center line. Try to keep that flight director right there at the threshold. 118, and just a little bit of power, we're creeping down. Oh, that was all she needed. Pull back power, 121. 116, add just a little bit of power. Like I said, we're looking for about 115. Alright, line back up on center line. We'll go and pull back to idle. Slowly flare. And we're on the ground, speed brakes out, and reverse thrusters. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching me perform this realistic low-level training route, infamously named the $1 Million Ride with the Miltech C-17. So like if you did, subscribe if you haven't, and come and be my virtual wingman. Later.